Hey everyone, welcome to this live English pronunciation training where I'm going to be answering some of your English pronunciation questions, and I'm also going to teach a few really important English pronunciation concepts that are essential for you to speaking English clearly, having confidence in English, and really feeling like yourself when you speak your native language, but in English. Okay, so thanks to everyone who's joining. Just so you know, if you see me looking in two different places, hi Juliana, thank you for tuning in. If you can see me looking in two different places, that's because I'm streaming this live on Facebook and YouTube as well. Hi Ghanaian, hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, put them in the comments, and then as we go through, I will answer your questions as best as I can. Okay, I'm doing good, Ghanaian. Thanks for asking. How are you doing? Also, why don't you put in the comments where you're watching from? I'm filming this live in central London. Hi, Rielan. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm filming this live from central London. It'd be great to know where you're watching from. Yeah, let's get going. So what I've got here is I've got a list of a few different things that I will teach, some really important pronunciation lessons. Hi, Isabel. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Oh, Nigeria. Good stuff. I was in Nigeria about 5 or 6 years ago. I was in Abuja and Lagos. Manchester. Oh, good stuff. In the UK. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Philippines. Oh, excellent. I like the Philippines. I've not been there yet, but it's on my list of places to be going. Algeria. Excellent. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Sloan, for the comment. Excellent. Yeah, got more live chats coming as well. And I think you should be messaging me. I think I sent you a message recently. India, coming in from India. Thanks for commenting. Can you count syllable in a word being in on me? Okay, we've just had a great speaker, a great question. So we've got Schwa in detail. Can you count syllables in a word being a non-native speaker? Yes. Let me just write these questions down. Coming from Kenya, another one from Philippines. Excellent. Indonesia as well. Wow. Already got people coming in from all over the world. I'm going to get started now and just start answering your questions because I want to give you the most value and I want to be respectful of your time as well. Okay. Thanks, Mayumi. Thanks, Sarah. Okay. So we've just had two great questions. So let me answer these questions now, and then we can progress. Okay. So the first question that just came in was, can you count syllables being a non-native speaker? Great question. And the answer to that is yes. And the reason why that's actually an important question is because, from Brazil, seja bem-vindo, welcome to the call. Liverpool as well, India. Thanks everyone for commenting. I'm really appreciating reading your comments, and it's good to be hearing from you. So the question, can you count syllables being a non-native speaker? The answer is yes. And it's actually very important to be aware of the syllables in words if you are a non-native speaker, because one of the main difficulties that non-native speakers have in English is stressing words incorrectly and also mixing syllables up together. So joining syllables and not pronouncing them as separate syllables. So if you think of speaking clear English, there's two elements that are very important. The first thing is, thank you, Sarah, thanks for saying I'm your favorite teacher. I really appreciate that. The first thing is getting the sounds correct that are in the words in English. So one of the main difficulties that non-native speakers have is pronouncing certain sounds in English that your native language doesn't have. For example, many of you have seen a video that I've created where I compare two sounds, E and I. For example, feet and fit. Many languages don't have long English vowel sounds, which means that the long English vowel sounds in English cause a lot of difficulties. So it's very important to be aware of the sounds that are in a word, and that's the first element of speaking English with good, clear pronunciation. But the second element, and this is one of the most frustrating difficulties in English, is that words in English are not pronounced as they're spelt. So there's so many examples of this. Take my name, for example. My name in English is spelt M-I-C-H-A-E-L. But if you pronounced all of those letters, you'd probably pronounce my name Mikhail, okay? Which is obviously very different to how it's pronounced. Mabuhay, I hope I'm saying that with good pronunciation. So that's obviously very different to how my name is actually pronounced in real life. Another very simple example is the word what, okay? It's spelt W-H-A-T, but it's not pronounced wahat, as I'm sure all of you know. It's what, wa-o-t, okay? So the question was, can you learn or can you hear different syllables in English words? And here's my number one piece of advice, okay? If you're ever not sure of a word in English, look it up in the dictionary and you'll see a load of funny symbols next to that word, okay? I've just had another question there. Hemant, I didn't see your question there. Comment it again in a moment when I finish this question and I'll answer it there, okay, because I want to get to your question. It's very important to actually look at, okay, what are the sounds in a word? And then how do those sounds come together? So for example, let me think of an easy word. Okay, hello. If I'm saying to you, hello, obviously the first syllable there, ha, is the one that's stressed. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear how the first syllable is the one that's stressed? Ha, hello, it's louder than the second syllable. If you weren't aware of the two different syllables there, you might pronounce the word completely differently. You might say, you might try and make it all one syllable, hello, which is obviously wrong. Or you might say, hello, hello, where you stress the second syllable even more, or even just evenly. If you said hello, hello, where the stress was even, that again is incorrect, okay? So with any word that you're learning in English, or you want to make sure that you're pronouncing correctly, make sure that you look up, okay, what are the syllables in the word and which syllables are stressed. Now, let me just write down on my piece of paper here. If you ever look up a word in a dictionary, the way to tell where the different syllables are in a word is when you look up the funny symbols in a word, you look up the word in the dictionary, for example, hello, and then next to that word in the dictionary, you will see one line like this, then some funny symbols, and then another line. The funny symbols here are the phonetic spellings of the word, okay? And what you will see is, if you ever see a little dot like this in between these squiggles, the dot means that the next bit is a new syllable. So for example, hello you'd have the H sound, you'd have the A sound, then you'd have the L sound and then the O diphthong. So this is the phonetic spelling of hello in English. And the dot here, if you can see, is what tells you the next bit is a different syllable. So hello. Okay. I'm just going to pause and see a question that's come in. Can you show shields? Okay. I'll get to that question. Ask it again in a moment if you don't mind, because I wanted to just finish this question first before I move on. Okay. So to answer the question, the way to check for any syllables in a word is to look for the dots in between these funny symbols here in a dictionary. That's the way to actually check. Okay, and I really recommend that you do this. Ha-low, ha-low. The dot here is what symbolises a change in syllable, a break in syllable. And just another point to be aware of that's useful to know is in phonetics, if you see let me just rewrite it. If you see something like a dot above the symbols in a word, the dot above is what actually registers where the stress is. So in hello, I just drew the line above here, and that signifies that this syllable is the one that's stressed. Okay, so two things to be aware of. The dot tells you where the syllables are in a word, and then the line up there tells you which of those syllables is stressed. Okay, so here's a piece of homework that you can do as soon as this live training has finished. What you can do is you can go to any dictionary online, the Oxford Dictionary, the Cambridge Dictionary, type in one word that you're curious to know about, look at the symbols, and you will see there the dot will tell you exactly where the syllables are. Okay, don't be put off by the fact that these syllables look confusing and complicated. Okay, all I want you to do for now is just look at the dot there and be aware that's what signifies that there's a break in syllables. All right, and then the second thing that I would recommend is really to train your listening. When you're watching any of my pronunciation tutorials, or if you're watching any other English tutorials, really listen as hard as you can to where you're hearing the stress in the words and also the different syllables. So if I take the word important, okay, this will be my final example of this. If I take the word important, okay, there are 3 syllables in the word. Important. Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to put it in the comments. Where do you hear the stress? Important. 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 Where do you hear the stress in that word? Just comment now, let me know. Okay. Okay. Agar says second syllable. Anyone else? Anyone else say anything different? Ah, Isabel, you're welcome. Thanks for commenting. Thank you very much. The second, Emmanuel also says the second. You're right. It is the second syllable where the main stress is. Poor. Absolutely right. Mila, you said poor. Jenny also said poor. Excellent. But Nilio, you just said the first. Okay. So let me say this. The primary stress, the main stress in the word is on the second syllable. Important, important, important. Okay. So the correct answer is the second syllable, important. But for everyone that said the second syllable, you're not totally wrong. You're half right. Okay. And I'm just going to give you, this is really, really important, and I never see anyone teaching this, but it's very important what I'm about to tell you now, okay? When you stress a word in English, there are 3 levels of stress. There's what's called the primary stress, there's the secondary stress, and then there's the an unstressed level of stress. Okay, so there's 3 levels of stress. Primary stress, which is the main stress in the word. Secondary stress, which is a second level of stress. And then there's the unstressed level. In the word important, the primary stress is poor, poor, poor. That's the loudest level of stress, okay? But then there's a second level of stress, which is not as stressed as poor, but it's still stressed. And that's the first syllable, im. So let me say it again and just listen to it. Important, important, important. I'll put that into a sentence. It's important that we do this. In that word, the primary stress is on the poor, the main stress of the word, but the second level of stress is on the California. I'll give you that one in a second. The second level of stress is on the first syllable, im, and then the unstressed syllable is on the final syllable, tunt. Okay, important, important, important. Who can hear, just say yes in the comments, who can hear that there's a second level of stress that's not as strong as poor, but that's stronger than tunt in the im syllable? Can you hear it? By the way, if you can hear some noise, just say yes if you can hear some noise now, because I'm doing this next to my window, and they've just started doing some building work on the road outside of my window. So if you can hear any noise, is it too loud? If it's too loud, I can pause the live here, but if it's not too loud, then I can keep going. Just say yes if it's okay. Yes, is it okay? It's okay? Cool, all right. I'll keep going now because I want to answer your questions. So that word again, important, important, important. Okay. Another example is someone just asked the word California. Okay, California. So let's look at this word because there's a few different syllables here. Okay, California. What are the syllables in that word? There's ca, la, for, and then different people will have a different opinion about the end part of the word. Some will say there's 2 syllables in that last bit, ni, and other people will say it's 1 syllable, nya. Can you hear the difference? Ni, Some people will say it's 2 syllables, ni, California, and other people will say it's nya, 1 syllable, California. I'm going to say, as I would say in native speech, I'm going to say it's 1 syllable, nya. Okay, nya, nya, nya. So how do we pronounce it and what are the syllables? Syllable 1, ca. Syllable 2 is unstressed. It's la, cala, cala, cala. Okay. Then we've got for, and then we've got nya. So I'm going to say the word slowly, and I want you to tell me, where do you hear the stress? California, California. Which has the main primary stress in the word? California. Any suggestions? Any ideas? California. And I'll give you a clue. Okay, Neil says for. Anyone else? Once again, I do apologise for the noise outside. Okay. Okay, someone said first. Someone else said for. Okay, someone said third syllable, for. Okay. So, Emmanuel said not sure. Slur said third. Okay, right, I'm going to answer the question. The answer is the primary stress, the main stress in the word, is on for, the third syllable. California, California, California. Okay, but to everyone who said first syllable, again, you're not wrong, you're half right. The second level of stress, so not the main stress of the word, but the secondary level of stress is on the first syllable, califor, and also in this word, there's two syllables that have the second level of stress, ca and nya. So let me say the word again, and I want you to hear. The two syllables that have the second level of stress are ka and nya. There's one syllable that is unstressed, okay, and that's la. Cala, cala, cala. If I say cala for, can you hear how for is stronger? Cala for, cala for, cala for. In that phrase, you should be able to hear that ca is stronger than la, but it's not as strong as for. Can you hear that? Cala for, cala for, cala for. Can you hear that? And then nya is a second level of stress. It's as strong as ca, but it's stronger than la. California, 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 California. Okay. Learning the levels of stress is very important. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video. I won't do it live. I'll just make a video where I just simply explain to you in a bit more concise detail than what I've done here, step by step, what you need to do to get the levels of stress. Because one of the main mistakes that makes non-native speakers often sound unnatural in English is stressing the wrong syllables in the word. So learning which syllable to stress is very, very important. Okay. And just so you know, I've experienced this myself. When I taught myself Portuguese and I lived in Brazil, I didn't know anything about which syllables to stress when I was speaking Portuguese. So I would stress the syllables that I thought should be stressed based on how I speak my native language, which is English. And as a result, I would nearly always stress the wrong syllables in words. And as a result of that, that made me very hard to understand, and it made my Portuguese very unnatural. So in other trainings, I'm going to go into this in a lot more detail. I'm going to move on to other questions now so that I can answer other questions that have been asked. Okay, I'm going to go on to other questions now. But if you want, what I recommend you do is I'm going to create a training on this. Make sure you turn notifications on, whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, whichever one you're watching it. Make sure you've liked and subscribed, and then turn notifications on. And that means when I actually create the training on this, you can make sure that you get it right away. Because this, again, I've not actually done much teaching on it already, but it's really, really important. Okay, Nelson's just asked, are intrusive R and linking R really common in English? Yes, I'll get to that in just 1 second, okay, because that's very, very important. Okay, so if you're liking this already, make sure to give it a heart or a thumbs up. Keep them coming, it's really good to see. So I'm going to ask Hemanta's question now. And also, let me just say this, okay, to give you an idea of how important getting the right stress and syllables right in English is. If I pronounce your name with English pronunciation, I'm probably, thanks for saying that you're a fan, I appreciate it. I'm probably going to say it as I would interpret that word in English, right? So if I say it incorrectly, then, and I stress the wrong syllable, that's going to sound very unnatural to you, right? But that's just simply because I'm stressing the wrong syllable. So this highlights the importance of stressing the correct syllable in the words, okay? So make sure you turn notifications on, because I will create a much more in-depth training on this. And if you found this useful, you'll find that training really useful, okay? So Hemant asked the question, or Hemanta, I want to make sure that I stress your name there correctly. And it was, the next question was, what's the difference between the Z sound, z, in English, and the j sound, as in beige? So what is the difference between the two sounds, z, as in bees, and j, as in beige? And then Jenny's just asked about how to pronounce nurse. I'll answer that question next, Jenny, okay? Let me write that down. I'm going to answer that question next, nurse. Okay, so the difference between z and j, it's all to do with the tongue position in the mouth. There's one element of both these sounds that's exactly the same, and that's the way that the air is coming out your mouth, okay? Z, j, z, j. Okay, the technical name for this is called a fricative sound. What that means is that the airflow is coming out in a very it's called a turbulent fashion. What it means is there's something blocking airflow coming out in a smooth, natural way. So if I say a vowel sound like E or R, there's nothing that's blocking or stopping airflow coming out of my mouth. And what that means is the airflow comes out in a really smooth way, okay? Whereas for z, as in bees, or j, as in beige, there's vibrations in my mouth that are making the airflow come out in a different way, okay? So the way that both of these sounds are made, the airflow is coming out in what's called a fricative way, which means that the tongue is stopping the air coming out smoothly. Z, 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 z. Can you hear the difference? Just let me know. I think you should be able to hear the difference quite easily, but what might be a bit more challenging is actually pronouncing both sounds correctly. So just let me know, can you hear the difference between z and j? Just give a like or say yes if you can hear the difference, and say no if you can't. Okay? Because as you can hear it, Nelson, excellent. Jenny, I'm going to get to your question in just a second, okay? It's all to do with mouth placement. So, and actually it's all to do with where the tongue is. So I'm going to come closer to the cameras here and show you. For the Z sound, as in z, 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 beige, sorry, the Z sound as in is or has, not the S sound, the Z sound, which is often spelt as an S in English. For example, is, as, was, has. All of these very common words are pronounced with a Z sound, even though they're written with an S sound. So very important, that's a very important point. So for Z, z, my tongue is behind, my mouth is very closed. Z, z, z. Look at the height of my mouth. Z, 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 z. My teeth are almost touching. Z, 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 z. And then the tip of my tongue is right behind my bottom teeth. And then slightly further back on my tongue here is then higher up in the mouth. Z, 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 z. Can you see how you should be able to see if you look at the size of my teeth, how further back in the tongue is slightly higher up in the mouth. Can you hear that? I hope you can hear that. This might feel unnatural making this sound, especially at the end of words like is and has. And that's why many people mispronounce the words is and has. One, because they don't realize it's a Z sound, but two, because it feels unnatural saying this at the end of words. Is, has. Okay, so I really encourage you to get comfortable pronouncing the z sound at the end of words. Okay. What's the difference between z and z? For z, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the sound, and then I'm going to open my mouth with my tongue in that position so you can see where my tongue is. Z, z, z. Can you see for my tongue is further back in my mouth? Okay, and what causes the vibrations in the sound is the back of the tongue, not the back of the tongue, the middle of the tongue here, vibrating against the middle of the roof of your mouth here. What I'll do just to make this, make it clear the difference between them both, is I'm going to go between Z, and Z, and I'll open my mouth after both. Okay, so I'm going to go Z, okay, and then hopefully you can see the difference. Thanks, Ghanaian, for saying great job. Appreciate that. Sorry. That's the Z sound, as in has or zoo. And then this is as in beige. Now I'm going to go between the two of them in a real word. Okay, so I'm going to go has, beige, 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 has, beige, has, beige, has, beige, has, beige. Okay, can you see the difference? Just let me know in the comments if you can see the difference there. Okay, because again, it's a very important difference to get right. The main difference is just simply for Z. Oh, thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. Really appreciate it. In Z, the tongue is further forward in the mouth. Okay, it's further forward, and the vibrations on my tongue on the roof of my mouth are further forward. Compared to okay, so I hope that helps. Just so everyone knows, okay, I'm going to answer as many questions as I can, but if I can't answer your question today, then what I'll do is I will, I'm going to do more of these live, so make sure you've got notifications turned on so you get notified when I do them. And then what I'll do is I'll put a post where you can write down the questions that you want me to answer. And then in the next live, if I can't answer them today, then I will answer your question on the next live, okay? So the next question was from Jenny, which was, how do you pronounce the word nurse in English? Obviously a very important question in the current coronavirus times, where our doctors and nurses are doing a really, really good job to keep us safe and healthy, right? So there's 2 points that I want you to be aware of with the word nurse. And what I'm about to teach you will apply to many other words in English. And especially the second point I'm going to teach you is one of the most important points you'll ever learn in English pronunciation. Okay, so it's really important to get this right. That's point number 2. The first point is the vowel sound in the word is nurse, nurse. It's a long English vowel sound, and the position of the mouth is there should be space for about 1.5 fingers in between your teeth. Okay. Really, there shouldn't be space for 2 fingers. If there's space for 2 fingers, like the sound in English, as in back, your mouth is more closed than that. Your mouth is closer together. Nurse, nurse, nurse. Just so you know, what I'm teaching you here applies to words like work or shirt, loads of other words. So even if you're not maybe interested in the word I'm teaching, what I'm teaching you is very important for other words. Okay. The tongue in all of these words, is relaxed in the mouth. Okay. You don't need to be trying to get into any fancy positions for this one. The way I like to describe this sound is, imagine you're simply making noise. Imagine you've just woken up in the morning and you're really tired and you're saying, what time is it? It's that kind of sound. Okay. Your tongue is very relaxed. As I said, it's a long vowel sound. So for any of these words or any long vowel sounds in English, a big mistake that a big mistake that catches people out is not making long vowel sounds long enough. Okay, it's very important that you hold long vowel sounds for longer than you would hold a short vowel sound. So, an example, feet, fit. It's very important to say and not nurse. It's not work or nurse or shirt. It's work, nurse, shirt. Can you hear the difference? Work, shirt. Okay, it's long. Jenny, who is a nurse, who asked this question, said that she normally pronounces Norse. Okay. And again, many people will mispronounce words and they'll say or instead. We don't want that. So what's the difference and how can we be aware of this? The difference is or as in horse. Look at my lips. Okay, just look at my lips and tell me what you see. Or. Do this with me now. Or. Okay. Or. My lips are tense. Or. There's actually tension in my lips. It's like I'm tensing my muscles. I'm tensing my lips. Or. For it's a very relaxed sound. My lips are relaxed. Okay. You do not need to tense them. They're nice and relaxed. Also for my lips, look how wide they are. Because my mouth is relaxed, my lips are wider. For or, because I'm tensing my lips and pulling my jaw down a bit more, look at my lips for or. If I compare the two, or. Follow along and do this with me. or, 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 okay? It's really important to be able to get these two vowel sounds correct, because or in English is a very common vowel sound, but so is Most people never get taught how to pronounce and it's actually one of the most common vowel sounds in English. And because most people never get taught it, they're left pronouncing all these words with the wrong sound. Okay, so I really encourage you, if you don't watch this video back, watch one of my other tutorials on YouTube for the vowel sound. It's really, really important to get the vowel sound correct. Okay. The second point for the word nurse that also applies to the word shirt and work and hundreds of other words in English is the R sound in the word nurse, okay, or work. Listen carefully. Do you hear me pronouncing the R sound in these three words? Nurse, work, shirt. Do you hear me pronouncing the R sound? Yes or no? Okay. I'm not pronouncing the R sound. Jenny, you got it, excellent. Okay. Jenny got the point, so that's really good. But I'm just going to finish explaining this point. I don't pronounce the R sound in any of these words. Why not? And what I'm about to teach you is one of the most important things you'll ever learn in English, okay, that can change your pronunciation like this. You only pronounce the R sound in English if the next sound that is pronounced after it is a vowel sound. In any of these words, in any word in English, if the next sound is a consonant sound, you do not pronounce the R sound, okay? And that is so important because if you pronounce the R sound where it shouldn't be pronounced in English, it immediately will make you sound a bit awkward and unnatural, okay? There's really, if someone said to me, what's the one thing I can do to change my pronunciation overnight, I'd say stop pronouncing the R sound where it's not meant to be pronounced, because you see it in so many thousands of words in English, but it's not pronounced at all. So imagine in your native language, if I'm speaking your native language as a non-native speaker, and I'm just pronouncing a random consonant in your language, a random sound, in every few words where it just doesn't exist, it would sound very, very unnatural. It would sound really strange, wouldn't it? So most people, again, don't get taught this rule, and that's why I want to teach it to you now, because if you go away after this live and just implement this one training, this one piece of advice into your English, you should feel so much more confident. You feel so much more natural. Thanks, Emily. Thanks for commenting. Welcome to the live. You should feel so much more natural, so much more confident, and it really can change your English, this one point, okay? So be aware of this, okay? There is no R sound in any word when the next sound is a consonant, okay? So let's just think of some other examples now on the call to really hammer this point home, okay? Work, I'm going to work. I often hear it being pronounced work, work, where people are pronouncing, they're not pronouncing an English R, but then they're also pronouncing a non-native English R where there's not even an R in the word. It's not work, it's work. So simply, okay, work. I'm wearing a shirt. It's not should it, okay, shirt. Can you hear how different those two words sound? Shirt, which is correct, compared to shouldn't, which is incorrect. Another word, I was actually just going to make a video on this, and I think I will make a video on it, is the word important. I often hear this word being pronounced with the R sound in it. So people will pronounce it important, 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 or important, important, okay? The R sound in this word is not pronounced. Important, 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 okay? So what I want you to do, if I could, what I'd love you to do is go away after this and just write down some words where you see the R sound in the word, and then just do some homework. Look up in a dictionary or comment on one of my videos, is the R sound pronounced in this word? If there's a consonant sound after it, the R sound is not pronounced, okay? This is one rule that you can take away from this and apply it to all of your English, and it can transform your English like that, okay? So I hope that is useful for you. Let's look at what we've recapped so far. So far, we've looked at how to stress words, how to tell where the syllables are in a word, and you do that by, in a pronunciation dictionary, any point in between the squiggles in a word, that tells you how to divide the syllables. We've also looked at how to pronounce the word nurse, work, and shirt. We looked at how to pronounce the sound correctly, and we've looked at the fact that there's no R sound in the word, in any word in English, where there is a consonant sound after it. I'm going to do one more question now, okay? So there was quite a few other questions that I saw being asked that I think I didn't get the chance to answer. Okay, hang on, I've just seen one here. It's very hard by, this is Jean, or Jeannie, hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. It's very hard for me to pronounce the TH sound in every single word. Okay, I'm going to answer this question because this will give nearly everyone on the call value. Okay, so I just said to you, the number one thing that can make you sound unnatural in English is pronouncing the R sound where it shouldn't be pronounced. Probably the number two thing that can make you sound unnatural in English is mispronouncing the TH sound in English, okay? And I'm just going to read the full question here so I can make sure that I answer it properly for everyone. Would you mind to help me with different words, for example, thought, the, both? Okay, great question. So the question I'm going to answer, and please listen to me, okay? Please take this seriously because, again, when I work with private clients and in my pronunciation course, this is one of the main areas for focus, okay? The TH sound is so important to get right. And just think of this. If you get the TH sound wrong, you will mispronounce the word thank you, which you should use all the time. Think, this, that, those, these, anything. All these words you use every day, you would be mispronouncing, okay? So I'm about to teach you how to make the sound correctly, and this will, again, be very important for your English. So first of all, the number one point with all of this is the TH sound. There are actually two TH sounds in English. One of them is a voiced sound. The other one is an unvoiced sound. So I'll explain what that means, but first I'll demonstrate the point. Thank you, Joseph, for your comment. If I've not had the chance to read everyone's comment, I'm going to read through them after the live. Okay, so thanks everyone for commenting. Keep the comments coming. And also make sure you've got notifications on for the next live I do, okay, where I can answer more questions. So let me give you an example of a voiced TH sound and an unvoiced TH sound. And I want you to follow along with me when we do this. And when you follow along with me, I want you to take your hand and put it here on your throat, and you will understand exactly what I'm saying. So let's take two words. We'll take the word thank you, very important, and we'll take the word this. Before we take those two words, just start talking, just start making noise and putting with your hand on your throat. Just say, hello, my name is Michael. Okay. If you've just done that with me now, or if you just start making noise, you will feel your throat here is vibrating. There are vibrations there, like this. All right? That's because you are making sounds that are called voice sounds in English. Any voice sound, it simply means that your voice box here is vibrating for the sound. Okay? So there are two sounds in English. For this, your voice is vibrating. This. What I want you to do is take your tongue, and this will feel unnatural, but follow along. Take your tongue and stick it out in between your teeth, like this. Do this with me now. Okay. And then what I want you to do is just make noise like this. What I'm doing here is I am making the sound in English, which is the TH sound in words like this, that, those, these. For any of those words, our voice box is vibrating. And here's what people find difficult is if you don't have this sound in your language, it will feel unnatural for you to put your tongue out in between your teeth, like this. Okay? It's this position that feels very unnatural for you. Okay? So when I teach this to my students in the course, I teach it in a simple 3-step process. Step 1 is just to practice putting your tongue out in between your teeth like this, and just get comfortable doing that, okay? Just get comfortable putting your tongue out in between your teeth and breathing out like this. Okay? It will probably feel unnatural, but it's very important to get comfortable doing that. Because if you can't feel comfortable doing this, then making the sound correctly is going to be probably almost impossible, okay? This is the foundation that we want to get right before we move on to the next step of the sound. And this also applies to the unvoiced sound that we're going to look at in a moment, okay? So for both the sounds and look at my tongue. My tongue is sticking out in between my teeth. That's step 1. The second step with both of these sounds is to practice breathing out That's the unvoiced one, where your throat isn't vibrating, your voice is still. If you take your hand and put it on your throat, there's no vibrations. That's compared to the voiced one, where there are vibrations. Okay, so step 2 is to get comfortable doing that. Just making the tongue position and then breathing out without the vibrations and with the vibrations. Okay, once you can do that, you're ready for step 3, which is then when you put this sound correctly into your words, okay? And this is when you can start integrating into your speech and making a really big improvement to your pronunciation in English, okay? So how do we actually integrate this into our English speech? Well, what we do, and I'm just going to write down a couple of examples, okay? And I'm going to hold this up when I give you the examples so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to write down an example. I'm going to write down 2 examples for the voiced th sound and 2 examples for the unvoiced one. So the voiced ones will be this and there, as in the paper is over there, okay? This and there. Just bear with me whilst I write this down. I'm also going to write down the symbol for you as well, the phonetic symbol. You're just about to see exactly what I'm writing down here. Think and thank you. Okay, we're good. So, look here, okay? I hope, hang on, I'm going to hold it up here next to the side of the screen, and I hope you can see it. So, also I hope that this is the right way around and that the camera's not flipping it, but if you can see it, it should be clear. So, just let me know if this is clear or not. Okay, so what I've written down here is voiced th sound and unvoiced th sound, all right? These 2 funny symbols here at the bottom are the phonetic symbols of these sounds. So if you ever look up any words in a dictionary to see the sounds in them, and you see these symbols, you will, that means the word has one of these sounds in, okay? So let's go through the two words for each example now, okay? And this is, once you've done steps 1 and 2, this is how you then put the sound correctly into your English speaking, all right? So we'll do the unvoiced ones first, because people generally find the unvoiced ones easier, and then we'll do the voiced ones next, okay? Alini said no. So can you see what I've written on the screen here or not? I hope you can. I'm going to come closer to the camera, okay? And we'll go. So the unvoiced ones. First of all, we'll say the word think. So, and also you might find it difficult. You might not get what I'm teaching you just in the time that we're doing this now, okay? But on the YouTube channel, I've got some very good tutorials explaining this. So what I'll do is I will put links to all the tutorials that relate to what we've looked at here today beneath, this video. And then what you can do is then watch my trainings on the YouTube channel that will explain this in much better detail, okay? All right, some people are saying, yes, they can see it. Other people say they can't see it. So I'll keep going with it like this. Yeah, it's hard for me to link it with other sounds. Okay, I won't go into linking these up today because it's a bit beyond the scope of this tutorial here, but just give everyone maximum value. I want to show you how to take these sounds and put it into words. So step 1, take the tongue, put it in this position. You do that until it feels natural. Step 2 is you practice breathing out with your tongue in this position. That's the unvoiced one, how it should sound. And the voiced one, where it's vibrating. Step 3 is you then take that position where you're breathing out and put it into words. So let's look at the words where it's unvoiced to begin with. There's no vibrations in the throat. Follow along with me. Think. 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 Next is thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay? How's that feeling? Comment, just leave a comment letting me know how that's feeling for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, how are you finding it? Is it good, easy? Is it medium, fairly difficult? Or is it hard? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's move over to the voiced one. Vibrating. This. 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 I'm feeling vibrations here in my throat and also here on my tongue, where my tongue touches the teeth. I'm also feeling vibrations here for this, okay? This. 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 Usually, people find the voiced one more difficult than the unvoiced one. So if you're finding this one really difficult, start with the unvoiced one first. Then when you can do that, then move on to the voiced one. Okay, this one more time. This. All right. Now this one here is there. 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 Okay? How's everyone found that? What I'm going to do is, we've already been going live for over an hour now. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to give you a list of pronunciation tutorials that I've created for all of the things we've gone through here today on the YouTube channel. So you can get really good tutorials for all of these points where you can follow along and practice until you're comfortable with all of them for free, okay? To make sure you get that list, what I want you to do is subscribe. If you're watching this on Facebook, then make sure you've got notifications turned on. And if you're watching this on YouTube, also make sure that you're subscribed and you've got notifications turned on. And then I'm going to make a post with all of the links into today's videos, and then you'll get notified of the post. The difficulty, if you don't have the notifications turned on, Facebook or YouTube won't probably give you the notification to get my post, okay? Because just so you know, the way the channels work is they don't always show every video to every subscriber. So that's why it's important that if you want to get all the tutorials, make sure you've got the notifications turned on, okay? And that way you get the tutorials, all right? So how's everyone found it? We've gone through quite a few different points here today, some quite comprehensive points and some quite difficult points. I really encourage you to build on, once you've got the notifications on and you get the list that I'm going to give you, make sure you build on these points, all right? Because all the points I've gone through today are some of the most critical points to you speaking clearly in English. And believe me, when I work with people who need English for their career and for their job interviews and to develop their careers, where they want to, get their dream jobs, earn more money, and also just feel confident when they're speaking English at work, we're going through the very things that we've been going through on the call today, okay? So, trust me when I say this, okay? This stuff works, and when you get confident with the points that I've gone through here today, it's going to make you so much more confident in English. It's going to make you speak English so much more clearly. And then if you need English for job interviews or for your career, or just to feel confident speaking to your friends in English, or to make new friends, or if you're traveling and you need to speak English, this is really, really going to help. Also, I know a lot of you really want to speak with a British accent and to sound like a native. And again, all of this stuff we've gone through today is critical for that. Okay, so thank you for joining the tutorial. Leave your comments on the videos and I'll look through all of your comments and just see any questions that you've asked. If I've not asked your question, if I've not answered your question today, then on the next live, I will answer your question, okay, or on one of the next lives. So make sure you've got notifications on and have liked and subscribed. That way you'll be alerted of the next live, of the next tutorial, and that way I can continue to help you improve your confidence and grow your influence and careers in English, okay? So thanks everyone. I've got more tutorials coming out. Also, I send out an email every week with more content that I don't really put on YouTube or Facebook. So this is usually content that I sell in my courses, but I also give some of it away for free on my email list. So you'll probably see an advert at some stage from me inviting you to join or watch my free training. And then you just put in your name and your email. Make sure you do that, because then you're going to get even more stuff that I don't put on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so make sure you do that. My mission with all of this is to give you the tools that you need to succeed in English and to achieve your goals in English. So as you know, I give away my best content possible to you to help you do this. So subscribe, make sure you've got your notifications on so you get all my tutorials and my lives and all of this kind of stuff. Comment below with any questions, or just send me a message with any questions and I'll do my best to answer them. And wherever you're watching from in the world today, have a great evening. It's only 2:36 in the afternoon here in London. So thanks. We've had people from Indonesia, Brazil, Philippines, Kenya, Nigeria, maybe other countries as well. Hemanta, I think you're in Nepal, right? So thanks very much. Any other final comments before we go, or are we good? Cool. Okay, I will end it here. So thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. I'll post another video on YouTube in the next few days. So thanks. So you've watched many videos created by me. Really glad to hear it. Hemanta, another question? Okay, I'll get to that in other tutorials, Hemanta, okay? I've got another tutorial coming out on YouTube in the next few days, guys. So make sure you've got your notifications on for that tutorial, and you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, and you'll get that new tutorial. Okay, I'm really excited for you to watch it. So thanks a lot. I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to wish you all a wonderful evening or afternoon, and stay safe. Hope you're all doing well with the virus, and fingers crossed you're all safe, and things are returning to normal wherever you are in the world. And also, just a final point that I'll mention is a lot of people have lost their jobs because of coronavirus, and are going to be looking for new jobs. And whether or not you're looking for a job in English, or if English is important for your jobs, getting pronunciation, working on your pronunciation will really help you to have more job opportunities, or to maybe get some more, other jobs as well. So that's why I'm really passionate about helping people now, more than ever. So stay safe, have fun, watch the tutorials back, and I'll see you very, very soon. Thanks a lot, everyone.